It's not really a big deal, cat folk. All right. But Cannalachia, episode 5, we about to take it in for another ride.
Hi, everyone. It's Cannalachia time. Just kidding. I don't even know if you can see the cat. It's Cannalachia, episode 5. And as you can see, my co-host, JC, is not here with us tonight. But I do have Miss Trish Tungate. Very excited to have you. Trish is chef owner of Minglewood restaurant here in downtown Lexington, Kentucky. And she has also been, what is the word I'm looking for? A prolific individual in the movement of cannabis legislation.
And CBD, really.
Yeah.
I mean, to make sure that we can do that. We're promoting it slowly but surely.
Slowly but surely. And her, the restaurant and bar, Minglewood, was the first restaurant in Kentucky.
Yep.
To be able to serve CBD as a
cocktail additive.
Yeah.
We weren't really allowed. We just did it.
Fair, ask for forgiveness later. Is that what
Correct.
they say?
Yes.
Yeah.
Always.
But then you were a big part in actually making the legislation so that it is legal now. Am I correct in that?
Well, I sounded the alarm because during COVID, some bureaucrats in Frankfurt thought that they were going to all of a sudden try to, get rid of it and say, no, you can't do this in bars and restaurants. It can only be in gas stations, or it can only be here, it can only be there. We're going to try to tighten the regulation. And so I sounded the alarm to Jonathan Miller, who's one of the biggest cannabis attorneys in the country. He works in the state of Kentucky, and he actually went to our legislators and said, absolutely not, because you will kill the entire hemp and CBD industry in Kentucky and will slow down the progression potentially for medical or recreational. And he actually got the law to be solidified where we can do it under the law. Yeah.
Well, big thanks to you and Jonathan
Miller. Yep. Yeah.
Awesome. That rules, and we thank you for that.
Yeah, I just have the big mouth. So there's that.
Sometimes it's important to be the squeaky wheel. I'm full of metaphors tonight for some reason.
Yeah, I always said they called the wrong lady to start hollering about it, because everybody else would have probably just said, oh, okay, no problem.
Right.
And I was like, no, this isn't going to be a thing. So
no, we're not going to cater to your bureaucrats.
Right.
Nonsense.
Right.
And we're so thankful you did, because your cocktails are always delicious.
Thank you.
But with that added little extra CBD, it's like a nice little ease into your brunch. That's usually Jill and I. Our first date, my now husband, our first date was at Minglewood.
Oh, I remember you told me that before. I love that. I love that.
He took me out to brunch at Minglewood.
I've produced a few marriages, so I'm pretty proud about that.
Good job. And I'm pretty sure we had some CBD cocktails while we were there at that brunch.
That's funny. Yeah, it's just a little whisper of more normalization. Get the word out there.
Yeah.
Is really the big part about it.
And thankfully you did. So you're a cannabis user yourself, I'm assuming, or CBD, THC, both.
Both.
This isn't live. We can edit whatever you're not comfortable talking
it's fine.
about.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah.
I know Justin's not here today, but yeah, because so Justin and I have gone through our history of cannabis use from our teenage years to where we're at now as adults.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And yeah, so do you have now as an adult, are you daily user? Are you medical, recreational, a little bit of both?
I pretty much, I love a gummy when I get off work. I work a lot of hours. I work in the kitchen. I'm there every day. I work every day. So, it's a lot of hours on your feet. And so a gummy is really lovely to come home, take a bath, have a glass of wine, kind of turn everything down a little bit. You know what I mean? So I love that. And then, indica is my favorite because it also just brings everything down a little bit. So I wouldn't say I'd smoke every day, but if I'm working pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, that's your job. Chef's job is really hard on your body and your mind. It takes everything.
I don't really do it at work because I was, as a very young bartender, I thought I would be very cute one night and smoke a joint, and I never did do that before, ever, but I thought, oh, there's no one here, I'm just going to, I'm going to go smoke in the parking lot with this guy or whatever, and I came in and had to ask someone 3 times what they wanted for a drink because I could not remember. And I said, well, never again will I do that. So I don't do it at work, but unless it's the very end of the night. But yeah.
I feel that 100%. I was, as an actor, I was through my teenage years and my early 20s, I was like wake and bake girl. And then I got a job on a TV show, my first major role on a TV show for an extended period of episodes. And yeah, they're handing you scripts first thing in the morning. I have no idea what.
Yeah, that was me. I was like, "What do you like?" And I would take one step away, and he would say, "Tanqueray and tonic," and I would go, "Okay," and then one step away and go, "What was it that again?" So
Tito's and
so we made the rule once again that was off the list.
That is a fair. So yeah, so you're using for a little bit recreational. Sounds like a little bit medical.
Yeah, I smoke at shows and stuff like that too. So I mean, who doesn't?
Right. Yeah.
Right.
No, and that's totally fair. So your preference, like on an average day, you prefer a gummy. Do you make them yourself, or are you as a chef? Are you?
I don't. I used to make a lot of weed butter.
Yeah.
But I guess I've always been go hard or go home. I don't know, because anytime that I would ever make this butter, I always made small, mini brownies, or I would make bread and I would give you a half of a slice.
Right.
And people would always say, that's not going to do anything. And I would tell them, well, you can either have that and have a great time and laugh and, have a great body buzz, or you can be underneath your couch.
Right.
So you make the choice, whichever one you want to do. So I don't know. So but now even with an edible, I'll eat half of it and see where I'm at.
Yeah. That's what I should do. And I've had a couple situations where when we went to Vegas and got married, and
oh yeah,
and I was like, woohoo, all of the things. I want to go back to the hotel room now.
Yeah, I woke up one morning and I thought I had moon boots on trying to go to the bathroom. I couldn't hardly lift my feet up, and I was like, why is this happening? What is going on? So yeah, we ease into those.
We call that the uncomfortable planet.
Yeah.
My sister and I. That's a good one. So yeah, I feel you on that though. I used to make a lot of butter and oil. I would make coconut oil and olive oil and infuse all the things and then use it for, salad dressing even,
Right. Yeah.
So whatever I was in the mood for, but then I found myself just wanting to sleep.
Yes.
I just make it so strong.
Yes. Yeah, that's me. That's me exactly. I really don't smoke a whole lot and go out.
Right.
And I don't know. I smoked some sativa the other day and I was a weird individual. So I was like, I really don't need to be in public on this. That's 1,000%. I'm already 1,000 miles an hour. So I really don't need too much assistance on that one or whatever. It just makes me very strong.
Yeah. Speaking of very strong, so do you remember your first cannabis experience?
Yeah. So you sent me that question, and I was laughing about it because I snuck to Hilton Head with some friends of mine in high school, and clearly there were supposed to be parents there, but there was not. And they busted out a gravity bong with the 2 liters. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And we'd had some beers or whatever, and I hit that thing, and I mean, it about knocked me on the ground. And then I puked for 2 hours. Oh. And I clogged up the toilet so no one else could use it. It was that bad. And then I didn't smoke again for 3 years.
that'll happen.
So it left a tiny wound on my soul that I was like, that's good for me. We'll revisit this when I know what else I'm doing. I don't know. So, but yeah.
Yeah, that was I had not. It wasn't a gravity ball, but there was in college. There was like it wasn't a frat house at all because none of the people but it was like this apartment building that was in the middle of frat row at UCLA. And it was the part, like, I'm talking about, like, couches being lit on fire and thrown off the roof into the pool. It was the Animal House. But one of the apartments, and you would party and just move from it, but one of the apartments had a 6-foot bong. All I know is you had to use a stepladder to actually smoke out of this thing. And I did, and then fell backwards off the stepladder.
Yeah, they'll knock you down.
And that was it, and I was done for the night, and yep.
And now people just do dabs.
I don't get that.
I mean, it's like we went from climbing on ladders to just like, and that'll knock you down like real fast.
Yeah, I remember my first dab. I was actually, I think, like 30. And and you know, I'm 31. But yeah, these kids were. It was before, like I don't even think they had like rigs or anything. But I was again going to have from one house party to another, and wound up at this one house party with some kids that were in their 20s probably. But they were doing dabs on butter knives on their electric stove.
Oh, Lordy mercy. That sounds like a lip injury waiting to happen. Like,
right? I was like, what even are you doing? And they're like, it's weed crack, man. And I was like, weed crack? Like, that doesn't, those two things.
Yeah, does it oxymoron. I
have at one point in my life smoked both of those things, but never together. And I don't think I want to. But I tried it, and yeah, I think I was just asleep on the couch within 15 minutes.
Yeah, I was introduced to that on Jam Cruise, and I was like, how strong do you people in Colorado have to make it, is my question. Like, how like intense does it have to be? And I did go out on Jam Cruise, obviously, after that, because I wasn't going to sit in the room. But it was a real interesting night, I'll tell you that. Like, there were a lot of stars going on in my eyeballs. A whole lot.
It was a lot. So is that the highest, then, that you think you've ever been? Was on Jam Cruise, or on the first time?
I mean, we also did some during that total solar eclipse. That was the last one on Laurel Lake.
Okay.
And we were eating some other extracurriculars, obviously, and that one almost knocked me off the boat. So, and then I didn't smoke for the whole rest of the day.
Right.
So that one hit, I was like, all right, I didn't drown. We're still here. Give me a life jacket and continue on. Like, it will be fine.
Everything's going to be fine.
Yeah. But it was an interesting day after that one. Whew.
Yeah. Yeah. I know those days when you're like, I have a whole story that I've already put here where I was on tour with my dad and smoked with the opening act, but it was Lebanese hash. And I just crawled into a bunk on the tour bus and was hiding from everybody because I was like, there's no way I'm getting this high past my father.
Oh, gosh.
And I just hid until he was on stage.
Did he get high?
Dad, okay, so here's the funny thing about Dad. He got sober shortly after I was born.
Okay.
So I didn't know what his history was. And
sure.
I just thought because he came from a family of his father was a severe alcoholic. Terrible, sad story. And so I just always had thought that my dad had been sober because of his dad. And then when I was 18, I discovered the truth. Mm-hmm. And then Dad started drinking with me, like coming out to, because my parents got a divorce. And my sister and I would be at a bar somewhere in Hollywood. And my dad, where are you? I'm coming. Okay. So then I started getting drunk with him. And then that's when the real stories. So my dad was actually an acid dealer in the 70s in LA. Now, whether or not, how far, supposedly he sold acid to the Beach Boys, which makes sense, but then he also claims to have one time sold acid to Charles Manson. So via the Beach Boys, apparently.
Isn't there some story about them going to his house or something like that?
They went to the ranch a couple, but like, I don't know, how it's, musicians, actor types, we tend to embellish
Sure.
stories.
Right.
So it could have been like, oh yeah, he sold, acid to Brian Wilson a couple times. And then somehow that morphed into Brian Wilson took me to, the family ranch with Charles Manson.
Interesting.
But also it could be true. But my dad is like the Forrest Gump of rock and roll. He has all of,
Yeah.
his car was commandeered the day JFK was assassinated when he was in high school. And
Oh, wow. That's what I always say. I would never have children because they would never be able to get away with anything.
right.
Like I've been there, done that. And
Yeah, no, he knew anytime I was high or drunk. They like my parents immediately knew. Yeah, because they, my parents met because my mom managed Bearsville Recording Studio in Woodstock.
oh, wow.
And dated Jimi Hendrix and Mick Jagger and all these people before she met my dad. So
Awesome.
So yeah, they knew everything.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. There's no getting one by them. Like, don't
No.
even attempt it.
Don't even try it. Yeah.
It's too funny.
I know you said like you bake bread or little brownies. Is there anything, like, are there any recipes that you like absolutely love that maybe are like more of a special treat?
As far as like cannabis goes,
Yeah.
So I'm one of those people, like I've never really liked chocolate with cannabis.
The same way.
I don't, it tastes like mud to me. Like the sweetness and the earth to me just does not mix. And so I would always make like those oatmeal raisin, like goo balls, or I love like pumpkin spice cake.
Ooh, that sounds
with
good.
it, because it's something about that those kind of like give you a big hug, baking spice, allspice, that kind of stuff. Those kind of spices with it tend to mellow that earth out a little bit for me without being too sweet.
Yeah.
So that's kind of always the direction that I've leaned in.
That makes sense. I've always wondered, like, about, like, why can't I get a bag of, like, cannabis Doritos? Not necessarily exactly Doritos, but, like,
Yeah.
where can I get, like, cannabis nacho cheese?
But I feel like now there's also like, like I've been smoking this one weed, it's like mimosa or something like that or whatever, but it really has such a intense orange to it.
Nice, yeah.
And I wonder if, and I love orange and chocolate. Those two flavor profiles together to me are like jam sauce. And so I always wonder, you know what I mean? Like if I had mountains of money or all of their clippings or whatever, that I could make a butter again or something, like, you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
how that orange, because there's so many more strands out there now that have so much more, I feel like, pronounced specific flavors than the weed that we were buying. You know what I mean? Like back
Yes.
then it was just like you were smoking weed and it was pretty
Right.
or crystally or whatever. Maybe my palate wasn't as evolved. I don't know. But, I feel like now with so many different flavors out there and different stuff that you really can get, because I'm a wine lover. I was a wine buyer for a long time. So anytime I get like a pen or something like that, I'm like, I get hints of blah, 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 like I'm tasting wine, you know what I'm
Yes.
saying? And I can pull those out or whatever. So it's interesting to think about, you see those cannabis cooking shows and whatnot where they've got the closet of different ones and different flavors. And I'm like, man, I would go bonkers in that thing.
Absolutely. Because that's what I hosted a cannabis birthday dinner a couple years back.
Oh, fun.
And that's what we did. But each course, because I did the infused oils and I did the infused butters. So we did like 4 or 5 courses, and we made it so each course you could choose whether it was medicated or not. Mm-hmm. So you could balance it out, or you could do just medicate I think everybody decided every course should be medicated.
Why not?
But we did like, like a salad and shrimp and grits with a chimichurri, and I can't remember everything else. But yeah, I didn't go out and buy like, oh, this one for the chimichurri and this one for the whatever. But yeah, that would be, if I could just go into somebody's weed pantry.
Correct. Yeah. And then you've got all these tinctures, because you really do get so much like different, like citrus hints, I think, from a lot of them. But then you could, it's like you get these different earth tones and, you know what I'm saying, like mossy things. And it's just like, it's like, I think that's why I think drinks are fun to pair with them, because you can level it up a little bit here or there, or it adds just a little bit of earth to something that's sweet, you know what I'm saying, like that kind of thing. So that's what makes it fun to play around with me. But again, if I had that $1 million pantry, I would really go nuts.
Someday,
Right.
we'll have that, that grow room.
Or somebody will just invite me to be like, come and cook in my kitchen, and I've got this. Oh, and the angels will start singing, So.
It'll be amazing. We'll all go do that. So move on. So as a chef, I want to talk a little bit about like your chefery in general. And so, how did you get started? Like, did you always know? Did you grow up knowing that food was going to be your thing, or?
No, I went to school to be a elementary science teacher.
Huh. I can see that though.
Yeah. And I was like, if someone tries to make me teach creationism, I'll have to burn the entire school system to the ground. So there's that. So I started working, bars and restaurants or whatever. And I started working at a place, Rossi's, and this woman became kind of my mentor as far as wine goes and talking about food and tasting food and that kind of stuff. And so she really taught me about, really honing in on flavors and nuances, that kind of stuff, pairings, textures, that kind of stuff. And I just fell in love with it. And so I was a wine buyer for 10 years or whatever, you know what I mean? And then I had the dish, and my chef had to leave, and I kind of had this revolving door of people that weren't very consistent. And I was like, you got to have it. And I said, well, I'll surround myself with the smartest people I can find and learn from them, and I'll hold down the consistency and learn at the same time. But I always loved to cook.
Yeah.
I was always a pretty good cook, but I was the kind of cook that was like, I think I'll start with this. I'm somebody that throws stuff in a pot, and then I go through and taste as I go, and you know what I'm saying, or that kind of, I make sauces that, you know what I mean, they could start out one direction and end up in a completely different direction. So
Absolutely. But the science makes, because so much of cooking is science.
right.
And
just
on
like
a molecular level.
Well, and like I said, texture, it's like you got to have the right acid in there. You got to have the right this. You got to have the right that, just to make it to where it's not flat on your tongue, to where it can hold up against something else. There's so many different dynamics to it, but it always keeps you learning, which is nice.
Yeah. No, last week we were talking about salt, fat, acid, heat, and how great that book and the TV show are. And, and all of that. Yeah, I'm fascinated. I never want to. I worked in a very sweet. I did when I first moved to Kentucky. I was working in some bars and some restaurants, and quickly learned, as much as I love food and cooking for my friends, for my family, it is not a business for the faint of heart. That's for sure.
Yeah,
it's a tough one, and I commend all of you who
well, thanks. Yeah,
who do it for a living.
You got to be slightly nuts.
Yeah.
Or a lot nuts, one or the other, depending on the day. But yeah, we're all a little off kilter, that's for sure.
But you got to be so many things. You got to be an artist and a scientist and a business person and the captain of the ship and commander.
Yeah.
A parent sometimes.
Psychologist, you name it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You have to wear all the hats.
Chief bottle washer, you name it. Like, you're doing it. That's for sure.
Yeah. It was too many hats for me, even just as a bartender. Because back then my dad was like, you want to own your own restaurant? I was like, no.
Yeah, I tell people, this is next year be 29 years I've been in this business as a server to owner or whatever. But people will go, I just really want to own a restaurant. And I'm like, do you like seeing your friends?
Do you like having a life?
Do you enjoy the weekends? Because you will never see another one, But, you do have to it takes a, like I said, slightly crazy person to do it, because you have to love it so much to do it.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine doing anything else. Like, there's no way you could put me in a cubicle and I could survive.
Right.
There's no way on the planet.
Yes. I have the same.
Yeah, I would be looking at you going, you want to go have drinks?
Can I go get something to eat?
Yeah, it wouldn't last very long.
No, fair enough. So, as a consumer of your food, obviously it's delicious. But I would say your focus is probably on, organic, but locally grown and seasonal foods, or how would you?
It's like, what I really want to do is give really solid flavor, beautiful whole food. Like it's all scratch. You know what I mean? I make all the sauces, I make all the dressings, I do all that stuff. Like I make the spice blends that go into things. You know what I mean? So it's, but you know, I really wanted it to be food that wasn't so over picky, overdone, you know what I'm saying? But like very satisfying, very available to people, not too pricey, you know what I'm saying? Like that kind of stuff, but that leaves you thinking about it.
Yeah.
You know, and I do try to buy, you know, as local as we can and whatnot, but it's, you know, and I mean, like our wings come from a tiny family farm in Indiana.
I love that.
You know, and they're free range and hormone free and whatnot. And
in my head, regionally local is still local.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be in a farm 5 miles down the street.
Right. But it's just, you know what I mean? I always wanted to just put out a quality thing. But, you know, I mean, quality and flavor are my two big things. You know what I mean? I feel like there's a lot of mediocrity out there that, unfortunately, or whatever, that, just, you know, I don't know, you're paying $25 and it's like, you know, this is all right.
It's fine. Yeah.
But it's not like wows you. But if I can give you something for 15 or 16 bucks that really wows you, I think I'm doing a good job. You know what I mean? Like, because that's, anybody can eat that. It's
absolutely.
Not,
like, I love that you have like nachos on your menu.
Right.
But they're like the greatest nachos ever with the best, you know, ingredients. And
yeah,
so
Caribbean black beans on Mexican nachos is an interesting combination. You know?
But it's so well thought out. Everything that's on your menu, it's very obvious how much love and thought is put into not just each dish, but each ingredient that goes into each dish. So with all of that being said, who's a chef that inspires you that might surprise us?
That's
if you have one.
You said that. That's a great question. I mean, like I don't really watch like Food Network and stuff like that.
Yeah,
like,
no,
or,
that's...
you know what I mean? Like I don't really watch a lot of television to even whatever. But I mean, like
when I say chef, like I love Thomas Keller.
Yeah,
he's definitely not on Food Network.
Right. He's also like in the
he's
you know outer stratosphere, correct? Like,
but if there's a documentary about Thomas Keller that I can find, you know, or Jose Andrion,
right?
like those guys.
I really love if like I'm looking at a show or something like that, but I like more to watch like stuff like that's about regional flavors. Like these are the ingredients that they're using in this region. These are the flavors that they're using in this region. This is how these people cook their pork. This is how this part of a country cooks their stuff. These are the spices, like the, you know, spices between North and Southern India are so different, you know. And so I really like flock more to learning about that kind of stuff and how different cultures, food overlap and intertwine, and you know what I mean, like that, how different flavors can meld together and how they're so intertwined, you know, like I said, intertwined or whatever, that that's really more of what inspires me versus just a specific person.
That makes total sense. I'm big into history of food too. Yeah. I've been way into High on the Hog on Netflix. Have you seen any of those?
I might have seen one or something like
that. So it's how African cuisine shaped American cuisine.
Oh, interesting.
Via enslaved peoples.
Okay.
So it's all about how with them came things like okra and rice.
Oh, sure, yeah.
And then carrying on from that, you know,
right,
fried chicken and crab cakes and all of these,
you
know.
Well, and taking stuff that nobody else was going to eat or whatever and turning it into like the most like beautiful thing on the whole entire planet, right?
Yeah, and that's high on the hog, because they were eating high up on the hog. Yeah. They're eating, you know, the head. And
you give me some cheeks, buddy, I'm all right with it.
Right?
I mean, that's the best part about it. Any kind of face, I'm on it.
Like, we've been talking about cheeks for a minute. Didn't we just eat cheeks?
No, we talked about it.
Maybe it was in Vegas. Maybe it was when we were getting married.
Has some pretty good. I think they've got. I can't remember if they're beef or pork. I think they're beef cheeks, pork cheeks.
That makes sense. Yeah, he makes like a head cheese, or he
with
was like making a head cheese at one
or
point.
something. Oh, man, they were real good.
Nice. But yeah, no. So I totally feel you on those, like learning about flavors and things.
Yeah,
and,
that's what. And we've traveled a bunch through like the Caribbean and whatnot and that kind of stuff. And so I'm always asking people when we go somewhere, like, tell me what your secret is to this. You know,
Yes.
I swear I won't tell anybody. Tell me what your secret is. Like, you know what I'm saying? So if I find a local person in a different country or whatever, then it's like I wanted them to share something with me about what makes this so amazing. It's really
Yeah.
kind of where I'm going with that, I guess.
I love that. Yeah, no, we're planning a trip to Japan, and I'm hoping to find like a tiny little onsen somewhere between the major cities that we're gonna go stay at, and
Right.
find that. Like,
Get in there and ask somebody's grandma about it.
Yeah, that's what I want to know about too.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had a lady told me, I can't remember where we were, maybe, I can't remember, Jamaica or somewhere, but she said that they will soak the fish because they don't know what they're going to go catch every day or whatever, you know, that sometimes it's like way fattier, sometimes way fishier flavor, you know, that kind of stuff or whatever. And so her secret was to soak it in sugar and lime for like an hour.
Yeah.
And she said it really would like pull some of the impurities out of it and whatnot, and like tone down the fat a little bit, you know what I mean? If you didn't really want that fishy flavor and stuff like that, but it would really make it like to where they could sell it to another average consumer, like, you know what I'm saying? That kind of thing. Or their families that would be like, I don't like that kind of fish because, you know, kids are going to be, I don't want that. Right. You know what I'm saying? So, but that was her secret. And I thought that was so interesting. And so I use that actually for catfish a lot. And it does like make it like 10,000 times more.
I'll have to come in. And I don't know if I've ever had your catfish.
I haven't done it in a while.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was sad. I don't remember seeing it on the menu. Because that's one of my things about catfish tends to be very sort of earthy and muddy.
Right,
and,
correct.
You know.
And so it kind of just pulls a little bit of that out, but it also kind of firms the fish up just a whisper. I think that acid tends to like firm the meat up a hair, you know what I'm saying? So it's still like flaky as all get out, but it makes it just a whisper more dense.
Yeah. That makes sense. I dig that. If you were going to have a dinner party and you could invite 3 chefs, they don't have to be chefs, but or 3 people in general that you would love to cook for, who would those 3 people be?
I gave this some thought, and I also thought about that cannabis cabinet. It's my dream dinner.
Right.
Right.
Dig it.
And I think that I would have to invite mostly comedians.
I love that.
Like, I would have to bring people in that would make me and my other guests, whomever might be there, laugh the entire time, because I feel like that's what better time is it than to laugh with your friends? You know what I mean?
Right.
And eat and drink is like perfection to me. You know what I mean? So, I'm like, Dave Chappelle's he's invited. Ali Wong, she's invited.
Love it.
You know, who else? I love that Michelle Wolfgow. I think she's funny. But I was just going like all these different comedians I think would make for, a riotous evening, really and truly, and especially if you're doing infused food.
Right? That would be, I want to be invited to that dinner.
Yeah, 100%.
I'll be your sous chef and then sit with you and eat. I love that. That would absolutely be fun. What would you cook for them?
Hell's bells, that's a great question. I guess it would probably depend on, really depend on the season and what it is. I'm kind of a fly by the seat of my pants cook sometimes, right. Like we did Taco Tuesday at Minglewood for 5 years. So every week for 5 years, I did a different taco.
Nice.
And some weeks I would go in and knowing, like, this is 100% what I'm going to do. And the other weeks I would go in and go, I don't have any idea. You know what I mean? Until I got there and I started, rooting around and seeing what was going on. Or it would just be like, I woke up today and I feel like this.
Right.
Or it's this kind of day for this kind of flavor. You know what I mean? So I'm really like a kind of just a moody chef, I guess. I don't know, because it all depends on my mood.
Right? No, I think there's certain dinners that I have to, like Thanksgiving, I plan weeks in advance and I know what I'm going to cook, and I still manage to fuck it up somehow every time. but it's fine.
It all takes practice. It all takes practice.
Well, no. So I've been I've been experimenting with cheese sauce, and I've been using sodium citrate to make just a pure cheese sauce. Mm-hmm. So
I'll teach you how to make some cheese sauce, girl. I'm real good at it.
Well, I can do the cheese sauce with the roux really good,
okay.
but I was learning from like Wiley Dufresne and Jose Andrea like how to use sodium citrate to just make a pure it's just so we bought like
flour.
6 kinds of cheese. We went to Jungle Gyms and bought 6 kinds of cheeses and melted them all down, then added the sodium and it was perfect. It was the smoothest, most velvetiest, gorgeous cheese sauce, and then I added it to the macaroni and I left it in the oven for too long.
Oh no. Oh no. You're just like, you want to scream at the top of your lungs, don't you? Like,
Wanted to cry.
Why? Oh my gosh. And you're like, we're eating this anyway.
Literally, so the whole crust.
$40 a pound.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Just a tiny bit, but it was still.
Still, these were like super, like not vintage cheddars.
Yeah. Oh man.
Said like truffle, blah blah blah. Yeah, it was a whole thing, but yeah, the whole bottom of basically anything that was actually touching the casserole dish got burned.
Yeah.
So I was like, we're just gonna cut around that.
Yeah.
And that's what we have left.
And don't tell anyone.
Well, thankfully, Chill accidentally actually left the macaroni and cheese in the oven when we left because we didn't host it at our house. We had it at his granny's. So we packed everything up, and I'm unloading and putting things on her counter and making sure there are serving spoons. I was like, where's the mac and cheese? And he had left it in the oven.
It's probably because it doesn't have that extra layer of texture to it, right?
Yeah. So I think what in studying my sciences of it, I think what you have to do is just and I had made it the day before, so that's why it had to be reheated up and blah blah blah.
Right.
So I think what I figured out you have to do is just make the cheese sauce that day, pour it over the macaroni, and then stick it under the broiler.
Right.
For a couple minutes to get that
I was just the browning, yeah.
on top, and that's all you need. And you're done.
Or brown your topping before you put it on.
Yeah. Well,
You know
we don't
what
do
it
a
means?
topping. It's just cheese.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Cheese and noodles. There's no toppings.
There really is nothing better, though, than like a whisper burnt cheese.
Yeah.
Like where it's just slightly brown is one of my favorite things in the entire world.
It's the best. It's the best. My grandma was not a cook at all. But the one thing she would make was these like open face tuna melt sandwiches on rye bread with American cheese.
Yeah.
And she would put them under the broiler, and
Oh,
then
nice.
American cheese just get like as gross as it is.
Yeah.
But it's the best for burgers and melty things.
Right.
And it would just melt and get that like those brown bubbles.
Yeah. Yeah. That's when you know it's going to be real, real good.
So good. So, okay. So we don't know what you're making for your comedians.
Yeah, I mean, it would really depend on. I mean, like I said, I don't know. Even when my family comes over, they have been coming over for Christmas the last couple years, and I've been cooking, and I'm like, what am I going to make this year?
Right.
I don't know. Like,
And sometimes it's just the date when you go to the farmer's market or you go to, we shop at Good Foods all the time. So it's like, what's here? What looks good? You know?
And I don't know about you, but I am like, it used to drive my ex-boyfriend insane. But I can spend an hour in the grocery store and not complain about it. Like, if I don't have anything to do, you know what I mean? But I'll smoke a little bit of weed and then go, you know what I'm saying? But then it's like, well, okay, what am I going to make for the week? And, oh, that looks yummy. Oh, you know what I could do with that, And he would be like, let's get out of here. And I'm going like, hold on a minute. Hold on. Let me think of one more thing. Oh, but you know what would be so good with this? And he's like, oh my God.
I love that this pretty much gets brought up every episode now.
Oh, really?
The only fight that Jill and I have ever really, true fight was because I was taking too long in Trader Joe's because it was,
oh my God,
Christmas time and they have all the seasonal nuts and things from different countries. And he was freaking the fuck. But I thought he was just doing a bit. Like, I thought he was just, being a pain in the ass and be like, let's go, let's get out of here. I'm Grumpy Pants.
Yeah.
Because I'd never really seen him be grumpy before.
Yeah.
And then I was like, fine, I was like, here, just go to the car. Go smoke a joint, whatever. And I got up, don't ever fucking do that to me. I mean, he didn't swear at me, but
Yeah.
that basically was like the whole, and he was pissed.
Yeah, it got to the point where he would not go to the grocery store with me ever.
He told me I have to have a list.
Yeah.
And then he'll go with me and we'll go shopping for exact, but he won't go to like, he's doing better, but he won't go to Trader Joe's and like meander at Christmas time.
Well, and God forbid that I like, cause so my girlfriends and I will go to the beach, and I say this is the reason they keep me around, but we'll go to the beach and we always go get like fresh seafood from wherever we are, and like big steak, and like, obviously I'm the one cooking because they're not doing it. And so, but I'm really in there for a long time, and I'm like, y'all go to the wine aisle.
Right?
Y'all go over there. I'll be over here, and when I'm done, we'll meet in the middle.
There you go.
Like, because we got to compromise on this one. So
That's perfect. I don't know what, I can't send him to the weed aisle. I wish. Someday.
come on, we can do it, Kentucky.
Could you imagine if it wasn't in dispensaries anymore? If you could just go to the grocery store and like there's like the spice aisle and then the weed aisle.
Yeah, lovely.
amazing.
It'd be super
Highly
amazing.
Professional, but this sounds amazing.
Chill's first on camera appearance.
Oh, nice, nice. Yeah, all right. Coming up with good ideas over here. I like it.
Right?
Yep.
He's the best. He always has the best ideas. So that all of that being said, so we don't know what we're cooking. We're deciding the day of what we're cooking for Dave Chappelle. That's fair enough. Are we it's yes, it's obviously a medicated dinner.
Yeah, I mean, I think, I probably might have cooked some soul food for him because I actually am really good at it. But like, I think Ali Wong would be down with that also. You know what I mean? Like, there's
Yes.
really not too many people that aren't down with that. But I mean, I don't know. You got to bring something for your guest that's from your person to them. You know what I'm saying? So that's also kind of, I don't know, would have to depend on, when and where is it? Are we doing it in Hawaii? Are we doing it in Kentucky? Like, I mean, so
Is
I
it
don't
winter?
know.
Is it summer?
Great.
Is it-
Yeah. There's a lot of factors going on there.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. So, but what is all of that being? What is the one piece of advice in your life that you've gotten that has resonated with you as a human, as a chef, as a woman?
Well, as a restaurateur, I will tell you, I was given the advice, always make somebody a strong drink and they'll come back to you forever.
Fair enough.
And I've had people come back that have been my customers for 29 years.
I love that.
Literally. But I think that translates into kind of be kind to anyone around you and they will come back. You know what I mean? If you give the best, then you will get the best. And in return, you know what I mean? What goes around comes around. And it's really, I kind of think the way that it goes, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
nobody's perfect out there, but you know what I'm saying? Hey, all we can do is our best. That's it.
We can and rely on the kindness of strangers and their strong drinks.
That's exactly right. Well, this is a kind of weird thing is I can see someone in the grocery store that I have not seen in 10 years and go, oh, Tangerine and tonic.
Right.
Not if I'm smoking weed.
Right.
But,
Yeah, but now you can. Now you know.
yeah, now I know. But I can literally remember your drink for 900 years.
That's amazing. I just get whatever's on your menu.
Bizarre. Yeah.
I like your creations that
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
I come into your restaurant, I don't get my usual, tequila and Sprite.
I've got a new one coming up that I'm real excited about because, all these people have been doing these espresso martinis. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm going to level that up and make one with mushroom coffee.
Oh, we have to come in. We have to go try that.
Yeah. And so
And all that.
I'm going to put
Ashwagandha, whatever they call them.
it's I've been drinking this. It's like cacao and mushroom coffee that's really lovely or whatever, but I did that and like rum chata and I've been playing around with this bourbon chocolate liqueur that is like out of this world. It's very rich, and then why not throw a little bit of vodka in there just for shits and giggles and call it a day? You know what I mean?
I like it.
And then orange because I want that orange with that chocolate. But it's really tasty. I'm real excited about it.
Nice. I'm still trying to figure out that one cocktail that I had in. I don't even know where we were. Where were we? It was like this mezcal apple cider,
Oh,
but it was cold. But
Yeah.
it like had all these but it felt warm while you were drinking. It was
Yeah.
down there by the Tennessee border, where you went to college. But I love the because you'd mentioned coffee, like the kind of cocktails that are like.
Oh, was it in Bowling Green?
In Bowling Green, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, it was like at a weird, we went to like a pizza restaurant in Bowling Green, but they had this cocktail that's like stuck to my brain.
Yeah. I like mezcal because it's like smoky.
Yeah, Pearl and I tried to explain to my sister, and she called it fire pie. Because I was like, it was like smoky, but apple pie and citrus, and there was like cinnamon and orange and smoke and blah blah blah. Just like fire pie.
That sounds good.
Right? But like those kinds of where it's like you would associate in your brain with like a hot beverage.
Sure.
Like a hot apple cider is how it felt. Mm-hmm. But it was a cold beverage, which is much nicer for like.
Wonder if that. I wonder how that translates. Like it would translate into, you know what I mean, like a warmer drink in the fall or something.
Oh,
like
it would
that.
be amazing.
You know what I'm saying? Because usually you would do like rum or something like that, but I could almost see that smoky.
Yeah, because I like sweet-ish drinks.
Right.
I don't like, I've never liked a Cosmo. I've never,
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
Like it's too much cloying, sugary.
Yeah. Well, and you're waiting on a headache.
If you give me a sugar rim, I'll throw the glass at you.
Yeah, right. So no lemon drops for Amanda. Got it.
Yeah, when I was 21, I mean, I was all about it. But
Of course, yeah.
as an adult.
Yeah, well, you get wounded on those sugary drinks when you're a kid, and then it's like swear them off forever.
That's the one liquor I'll never touch ever again in life is Avalanche. Is that what it's? It's like a minty schnapps.
Oh,
kind
Lord.
of, yeah, like those schnapps. There was Avalanche, and then there's like a Avalanche and Volcano. I can't remember. There were like two opposing. One was like mint and one was cinnamon.
Oh, God.
Just sugar and grain alcohol.
It sounds like just... You will be in the bathroom later.
Yeah.
Like curling your guts up.
Whether you smoke a joint or not.
Yeah.
You will be
gosh.
on the uncomfortable planet.
Oh, no.
But I love that espresso, like mocha and mushroom sounds. It sounds like earthy and sweet. And
Right. Well, and that cacao is like very a little bit more on the bitter side. You know, the ranchada is more like, you know, like baking spices, like I said, and then that chocolate though it's got that bite from the bourbon.
Yeah.
You know, that back kind of heat bite to it or whatever. So it really is. And then that orange is very balanced. It balances it out as far as, you know what I'm saying, where it's got that acid to it, little heightened bit of sweetness, but then all that rich undertones.
I love that.
So, yeah.
It's like it also reminds me of Damiana. Have you ever had Damiana? I don't even know if it's legal in the U.S.
Oh God!
Well, it's one of those. It's from Mexico, and it's supposed to be like an aphrodisiac, but it's this kind of like sweet, kind of earthy, and it comes in one bottle that's shaped like a very voluptuous lady. I'd smuggled a bottle back when I came from Mexico one time, and I've always tried to find it in the stores because I'm like, I had this bottle and I would like sip off of it, but I'm always like, how do you make a Damiana cocktail? Like, what is that? Yeah.
Does it mess you up?
Yeah, no, it can.
Is it strong?
It's strong, but it's like, it's a liqueur.
Yeah.
For sure. Like, it's something that you,
Oh, okay, would want to mix with something.
Yeah. Me,
Interesting.
in my 20s, I'm just in my kid, like, hey,
right.
Take a sip of the chibba lady.
I'll have to, we're going to Mexico in February. I'll have to see if they have it down
Yeah,
there.
check it out. I think you can get it in some, like, I feel like you can get it like San Diego too, like, you know, like if you're right there on the border, but it's not a thing. I don't think it's illegal. I just don't think it's like widely imported.
Right. Yeah.
It's one of those odd things.
Yeah. Costa Rica has a liquor like that. And I was trying to think what the name of it is. It's chili something or another. They make these little shots and it's verges on right between rum and tequila.
Nice.
But they mix it with, everybody has their own little tomato juice spice blend that they pour barely on the top of the shot. But they're so tasty, and you're like, oh, it's great. 3 or 4 of them later, you're like, time to go home.
Done.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm one of those where I love Fernet.
Uh-huh.
I'm one of those whip that where like people are like, "What the fuck is wrong with your brain?"
Yeah. A girl that works for me, she loves a High Life and Fernet.
Oh, I've never had High Life and Fernet.
She swears by it, that it's the best thing in the world.
We would do gin, like real ginger, like Fever Tree ginger beer.
Yeah.
So a shot of Fernet and then sip back some ginger beer. But yeah, but at the same time, I hate Malort.
Oh, yeah, that's awful.
Yeah, no.
That's like, no, it's kind of an assault to your face, in my opinion.
There's no
like,
saving Malort.
no way. Somebody else was just talking about that. It's so weird the other day.
We've gotten way off subject again because I'm really good at that.
That's all right.
Hey, as long as you don't talk about drinking for 20 minutes.
We
Yeah,
have been
right?
talking about drinking for 20 minutes.
Oh,
Yeah, we're trying to talk about cocktails.
No
Let's,
longer going to be a feature.
We're not a weed show anymore. We've become an alcohol show somehow, and I don't even drink anymore.
well, I did have some really nice weed tea that a friend made for me over COVID, and my girlfriend and I would. You could take a shot like this big,
Oh, nice.
and I mean, that's all you needed. And next thing you know, we're like two little girls at a 5-year-old birthday party, and I was like, this is the greatest thing known to mankind during COVID. What do you mean? Like,
I need some of that tea.
yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
It was fantastic. And I mean, one bottle would last us like forever and a day.
Oh, that's perfect.
But we would have a little sip of that and then get into my refrigerator, and it was like chopped all of a sudden. I'm like, what am I going to make us tonight? Because I'm real stoned all of a sudden.
Is it like a sweet tea, like an iced tea?
Yeah, like a sweet tea.
Oh.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I want to try making some of that.
Yeah,
Because
it was great.
When I go to California, there's a company I buy little tea bags from. I can't remember what they're called, but I buy them at the dispensary, and then I buy the THC honey that goes in. So I'll make the.
Yeah.
But that's just immediate sleepy time.
Right.
It's like chamomile and THC and honey and tea and a little hot warm mug of that. And
Yeah.
you're done.
You could probably put it with some like some of that like ginger zinger or something or another. You know what I'm saying? That's got some caffeine to it. You know what I mean? But like something that would kind of like ginger like wake you up a little bit.
That's
Like,
what it needs. Because I think, it's called Positivity, I think, is what the company is called.
oh, uh-huh.
But it's all like, it's all calm. It's all chamomile and
Yeah.
lavender. But yeah, they should do like a caffeinated version with some sativa because I think it's
Yeah.
all indica.
Right. Well, this stuff it would wake you up. It was fun.
We gotta try some of that, or maybe just get enough bags of it
Yeah. Right.
and just brew a pitcher of iced tea with it and see what happens.
Yeah. Put it in the fridge. Well, this came with the cap on it, so it would stay in the in the door of the deal for when I come home from work and.
Nice. Yeah, that's been one of the things we've gotten, like sodas and stuff in Denver, and you open it and then you're like, oh, I just gotta finish this,
Right.
and then, and then things get stupid.
The flowers look so amazing.
Everything. Denver is the most magical place on earth.
Yeah, that's what I say too. The land of the civilization is out there, right?
It feels that way. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Even at the Cannabis, the Church of Cannabis with the bad laser light show.
What did you think about? Did you go to any of the dispensaries in Vegas? I hear they're wild.
We only went to one. Did we go to two? Oh, you went to the other one. Yeah. We went to one that was pretty standard for like having lived in LA and
Right.
been to so it was very like I think for anybody not from that would feel wild because it's a big giant place with all these glass cases with all of these options.
Yeah.
It's a massive room with every option and everything, pre-rolls and flowers and
Yeah.
edibles and drinks and
Well, a friend was telling me that they had gone out there and they went to some place and it was like, the back bar where alcohol would be normally was like bongs, utensils and whatnot,
Right.
to, and dab rigs and whatnot. And then the underneath was all, what do you want to smoke? And so it was like going to a bar, but then you choose your apparatus and what you put in it.
they shut those down, but they're
Oh,
bringing
really?
them back.
There's one. They had it.
Oh, they did. Oh,
Okay.
Ryan and them went to it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
'Cause-
they made a separate trip. But
'Cause
you
there
may
was
have not been able to
originally-
smoke there, though. You may have not been able to smoke.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So originally it was a little bit like the Wild West.
Yeah, right.
Where these places open and they're like, and you can smoke here. And then the legal people, the bureaucrats were like, what? No, you can't.
No, you can't do this. You got to go home for that. You got to get out of
Do
here.
that in here. So they like kind of brought the hammer down on that.
Yeah.
But they're bringing it back but they want to treat them like cigar bars.
Okay, yeah.
So, but they haven't like, apparently, I think the very first one is supposed to be at Resorts World, which is where we stayed for the week we got married. But whether or not that's actually, who knows? But yeah, and California is kind of trying to think. There's like one or two actual cafes now in LA that there's one in West Hollywood, I think. I haven't been to it yet because we haven't been back. We'll go on this next trip for New Year's. But yeah, so those like the Amsterdam cafes aren't here in the U.S. yet because the law.
Yeah, she said it was wild, and then they were like, "Would you like some cookies?"
Right. I love that.
And I was like, "Perfect."
Why can't we do that here? I don't know.
Yeah, but I thought that was
seems
pretty interesting concept.
Yeah, it's so funny. Like we go to bars and we drink alcohol and it's fun. Like why can't we smoke weed or eat weed and hang out? And,
Right.
It's not like one or the other. It's like we can have both, and everything's going to be okay, guys.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
So
Exactly.
are you for then? We can maybe edit this back in because that leads me to one of my initial questions that I forgot about.
Yeah.
So are you pro cannabis legislation recreationally, medicinally, federal level, state level? Like, what do you think it should look like?
I mean, I really think if they would just go ahead and say on the federal level, like, it's no longer illegal.
Right.
You know what I mean? I think just the states are going to want to have their thumb on it in one way, shape, or form, but the federal government wants to have their thumb on it also.
Right.
So if they go ahead and do it, then I feel like the states would follow faster.
Yeah.
Because they wouldn't be going, well, nobody could go, well, we're breaking federal laws over here. What's next? You know what I mean? Because that's kind of, I feel like the mind frame that it's like, well, what's the next federal law that's going to, you know what I'm saying? And then we'll have to do this or whatever. But it's like, I mean, what is it? 38 states that it's legal now. So, I mean, we're over halfway there, and what are we doing? What are we waiting for? And then you look at the states that are doing it and the benefits that are coming from as far as like education goes and their roads and this and that and whatever. And, mental health and, you know what I mean? Like that kind of thing. And it's like, when you're looking at all of these benefits that places that have legalized, it's like if they would just federally remove it, then the rest of the states would follow.
Absolutely. And it's, just like in California, I've said this before, it's on a county by county basis.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, and there still are some counties that are just now, almost 20 years later, rolling out, okay, we'll give a couple dispensaries licenses and see how it goes, And just like in Kentucky, this is the bourbon capital of the world, and we have dry counties.
Right. Well, I have a friend that she has been a cannabis and hemp lobbyist she was for a long time. I'm not sure she's still doing it now, but, she would have to meet with Mitch McConnell and whatnot about hemp and CBD and whatnot in Kentucky. And he is actually for it. He's like, if he goes, let's regulate it across the board and get it done. But he's like, just as long as you put the regulations in place as far as where's the money going to go. Hello.
I would also like to be on this show.
Right. But so you've got one of the most conservative senators out there that's literally like, basically as long as we're all getting our cut, what's the problem?
Yeah, I agree. I think that we should just let counties decide how they want to treat it and let adults consume and regulate it like we do alcohol and tobacco.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's just, like I said, the benefits of the states that have done it already, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
outweigh the not. And so it's, you know what I mean? And humans are going to smoke it.
Humans are going to smoke it. And again, nothing wrong with alcohol or tobacco. I'm a cigarette smoker, and
Yeah.
I do drink on occasion.
Right.
But, you know, weed is actually helpful.
Right. Right.
Cannabis is actually helpful to any number of ailments, from PTSD to GI issues like I have, and across the board.
Right.
So knock it off, bureaucrats.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Yeah.
What I have to say about that.
Yeah.
But I think that's time. I think we've done our show. Trish, thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And so, Minglewood, people can come and see you and drink your drinks and eat your food and get CBD in their drinks over at Minglewood, if you want to give them the address.
Yep, we're at 159 North Limestone, across from the courthouse in Lexington.
Go check it out. The food is delicious. The drinks are amazing. Trish is amazing. Her staff is awesome.
Thank you so much.
And it's a really fun and friendly place to be, and you'll enjoy yourself. So go.
Well, that was fun.
Come on, Cannalachia.